Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's see, how are we feeling today? Make sure everything's all good. Welcome everyone. Making sure things set up on all sides. All right. So we have a good one today. I'm really excited about this. So let's see. Oh, we got one person. I think this is going to be a fun piece in my mind. I'm excited to kind of dive into a little bit more of the competition stuff. Maybe this is just a little bit guilty, but just appreciating what I can do. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get right into it now. So, welcome everyone. Let me actually, it's a little loud in my ear. Let's see. Boop. Let's get into it. We're trying out some new stuff today. We got a little different stream setup. My camera's over here now, so I'm kind of jumping between things, but let's see how it goes. Let's get this little overlay. Oh yeah, looking fresh. Whew. All right, people, welcome to Open Studio, where we will be talking about all things Arkio, getting into design thinking, using it as a tool. So welcome everyone. I'm excited to kind of jump into it. Hopefully you all have been having a good week so far, and excited to kind of get into some of the nitty gritty here with using Arkio. So I'm going to turn down the tunes a little bit. All right, so we got a little bit of a schedule today because we're going to have a good little open studio. So God, I'm jumping around so much. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen, which is always a scary thing to hear. All right, cool. Well, let's see. Make sure I put the comments on. Welcome everyone. Yes, yes, yes. I keep saying that. Everyone's been welcome. So let's get into it. So today for Open Studio, we're changing things around a little bit. We're going to kind of keep things a little bit lighter. Some thoughts that we have been, or some input from people was to keep things, like they want to focus a bit more on some of the more active things we're doing here. So I'm going to use this time to be a little bit more focused with our design challenge. So Open Studio today, again, has been changed to just be 1 hour. So we're going to use the first few minutes here to kind of go through some of this space and look through a kind of a quick start guide of getting up and running with the design challenge. So, and I'm going to, at the end of this kind of at the end of this piece here, I'll actually be kind of sharing a little bit of a working page that I've put together just as a placeholder here, where we're going to talk a bit about some of these key points today. So we're going to use the first few minutes just to look at literally what this page is, how we kind of set up a model, how we download things, and different workflows that you might want to leverage. We will kind of skim across things, but kind of from a perspective of someone from the design field with a couple different programs you might want to leverage. And then we'll get right into using Arkio. We have a special guest that will kind of be joining with us to talk a little bit more about this particular challenge. And we'll give you more tips around setting up the scene, best things for workflows, and how do you export and share some of this work. So I'm going to post this link at the end of, it's on there, it's right near, it's towards the end, quick start guide. But to be honest, it's, there's not much here, but you got to get kind of a good sense. So let's get right into it. So the here to there competition or challenge, it's a challenge, not a competition. So how's this looking? Oh yeah, I need to move this over here because it's just a little bland. All right, and we'll minimize, there we go. And then shebang. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, cool. Say hello people. Hi. I'll say hello. Hi. Oh, my pleasure. Hey, Donald. Happy jumping into this. Hopefully this is cool. So, yeah. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll be kind of answering it a little bit more, and then as we go into right before we go into VR. So, cool. So. With the design challenge, what we're aiming to do with these, right, is a bit more engagement. One of the things that I felt were very great learning tools for when I started teaching about how to design in VR was in particular giving people these simple prompts to work through. When you first get into VR, there's a lot of, friction behind getting accustomed to the design process, spending time in VR, working in these spaces. So you really want to give yourself the ability to be creative and flexible, but have some guidelines so you can work against, and also have a time frame that you're not going to spend, like you can get accustomed to things and get a little bit more experience right away. So these challenges are meant to be kind of a quick creative burst of collaboration and energy. So I've really enjoyed them in the past. So I won't go through everything in detail here, but realistically with these pages, what we'll continue to do is have these pages available where you can find all your resources, and also how we download and import a model here. So we'll kind of go through that step in a second, but in particular, this page here, you can see a lot of other previous work from classes that I've taught. This is different with OpenStudio, but this was a particular out of college. And so it's really nice to kind of see some of the spaces that have been kind of created and showcased, like a lot of different forms. And this was actually the same pathway project where students were jumping into using, a different site that we had created, and they had to kind of create these different connections through multiple different points. So, this gives you a bit of a backstory towards how this type of thinking goes. You really start to kind of look at not just like designing a single one story building, but how do you start to circulate and move around in VR and do certain things within Arkio that help you understand spatial concepts. So these are really great exercises, and you can kind of get a sense of how students started to really create these different types of spaces and the social gathering moments that happened while they gave tours and things like that. So for this challenge in particular, we are aiming for people to just kind of capture and create things, and we really want to help people get up and running and move things along. So let's see. So you can find most of the resources here. I have been really inspired by a lot of other creative communities, like the Open 3JS community and Speckle and things like that have been doing these really great challenges and promoting people through Discord. So we're going to be kind of talking about that towards the end for submissions, but for now we're going to focus in on Arkio. So here's the guide that we're looking at today, and we're going to just jump right into it. So let's see. So in particular, getting a little coffee sip, I feel it's like this weird thing coming from giving a lot of presentations and stuff, and now trying to stream, where I feel like I know I'm talking to myself, but I'm not trying to rush through a presentation because I don't know, it's fun. So hopefully hopefully this is as entertaining as it is for me to be talking to myself. So but let's get through this. So okay, so when you start to work with Arkio, there's a certain type of thing that really is important to understand, is that you have different type of model types, and it's very approachable to start integrating your typical model information, right? So, and what that means is that when it comes to downloading and importing a model, it's as easy as working from whatever native platform you're used to. If you have a design background by using modeling software like Rhino, Blender, Revit, SketchUp, things like that. So there's good starting points that allow you to import a model and check it out, and we'll kind of cover that today. But if you also don't have a modeling background, it's also really easy to get up and running with like getting the model downloaded and importing it into Arkio. So we'll actually duck on that first. So let's go through this process here with Arkio Cloud. In particular, there are documents on guides on here, but I just wanted to kind of show live me doing this with, kind of just how I would go. So in particular, whenever I've had to work with people designing and using Arkio models, we share things through a format of like GTLF. And when you import something into Arkio, it's that's going to act as like a static model. We'll go a bit more into that once we get into Arkio, but you get a sense that it acts as like our context site. And the designers in particular, we've always referenced context as a good starting point. And there's a really good tool that I always like kind of showing, CAD Mapper. And I want to show this because we have this type of feature built into Arkio, but a lot of people help kind of understand this really well from like different file formats. So with CAD Mapper, what's nice is that you're able to think about pulling in a context model that gives you a starting point to build something off of. And these spaces need to be basic and your information just standard. So these need to be like almost a bland piece of paper for us to work off of. And so with this context model here, we're doing the same thing by creating a static model that will import in and give us something to build off of, something to have influence here. So in particular, right, I would go through here, I'd hit download, and it's a GLTF file, and you can, it's a pretty standard format. It's like the new OBJ, I guess. I'm pretty sure I'll get yelled at or someone will correct me sooner or later for saying that. But when you download it, it'll just download as this, the single file. I typically like to kind of just save some of this stuff over here for this type of work. And of course, I close the folder. Let's see, let's pull this up. So it is right there. Perfect. So here, what we're doing is I just wanted to show that I set up a little folder where I've put my downloaded model, and you can kind of see everything is already set up pretty well. The model's in meters, and it's just a little setting piece. So if you download the model here, what we want to do now is just actually upload it to Arkio Cloud. So Arkio Cloud, you can just access that by going to cloud.arkio.is. I'll post that in the chat there. And when you get here, Arkio Cloud kind of works in a particular way that helps you not have to have an account. You just use codes that kind of pass around, and it's it's quick and easy right now. So whenever you go to this page, if you haven't set up a group before, it will say create new group. And so for me, I'll just kind of name this something that makes sense to me. So like challenge 01, and then I will hit create. And what this does is that this creates a little bucket for us to store files and pass things around on our Arkio devices. So, that's really important for us to get to. So here you can see here's like my unique little code. So we'll get to sharing that in a second. And basically here, we're just going to go to uploads. Now we basically want to upload our file so that way we can access it on our devices. So this is kind of creating our little connection point that allows us to import files into Arkio and also extract things from Arkio. So here we go. So I have over here on the side, I'm just going to drag that downloaded file that I got from Notion, and actually I think I'm going to select it manually. There we go. There, boof. Okay, so and this same process you can use for importing images, 3D models. For this challenge in particular, you're only allowed to use 2D images. So just in case you want to have like a custom texture or something like that. But this process works for all of it. So this here will be uploaded to the cloud. So then I can just go back, right? And I can now say I want to invite someone to this group, which would be myself. Like, let's say I now want to share that to the device I have. So I'm actually going to show that now. In the desktop version, this is a little bit different in UI. So we'll kind of make this a bit. We'll do this part just to kind of show the model downloading. But in here, let's not do that. Let's not be liars. Let's get the whole thing going. All right, 1 second. So I'm just going to show putting that code in. Having a little trouble. Let's see, 1 second. What's going on? Just doing the thing. No. Oh, great. Well, 1 second, people. Looks like there was a weird connection issue with my headset. Boop. Boop. Technical problems always fun to have. All right, cool. Let's get back into it. So we got me set up. So let's get back in here. All right. So let me just remember that code. Boop. So using this code here. All right, back to it. Flawless. JR1RD5. JR1RD5. Okay. So in here, when you want to import something in from the cloud, Arkio connects to your UI through this way here. So in the create panel, when you pull this up, you'll navigate to this cloud panel here and oh no, JGRDR. I wish you guys could JR. Oh no, JR1RD. Oh my god, D5. Oh no. Is that it? Yes! Okay, cool. So when this happens, when you're joining this group, basically it connects you to what has been uploaded to that cloud. So if I go now to local to access my imports here, you see, oh no. Oh boy, that's not helpful. Okay, no. I wonder if it's because there's a new name to it. However, we'll figure that out in a second. Let's just kind of wrap this up in this place. So basically, I've kind of imported this prior. So what happens is that you'll have a model that comes in and it says that you can either lock at origin or place as object. Of course, you're going to use lock at origin, and the model's in meters. So when you're here, you can start to kind of use this as your base here. So this kind of describes the whole cloud. Oh no. Okay. this describes the whole cloud connection here by using the cloud group and joining that space here. And you can easily leave the group and stay connected that way. And basically what happens when you upload something, how it ends up in your imports folder. So sadly enough, I need to be a little bit more sure. I don't know why that didn't download, but it'll be a good thing to look into. So let's jump back into the plugins and kind of talk about that workflow for a second. Okay. Oof. Man, would love to know what you guys think about how all these transitions work right now, because a lot of times, oh no, my head. A lot of times it feels a little hard to jump between using desktop and using VR, but a lot of this also kind of reflects a lot of the jumping, like kind of a bit of the workflow of connecting between devices and desktop. So if you have any thoughts towards the, how this is documented, how it's coming through, love to hear about it. So, okay, but let's go back to our little doc that's guiding us through the way. So in here, we go to quick start. So we kind of showed just quickly, right, using the cloud plugins. There's on this page here, we'll also link to the actual guides that show you the step-by-step process, so you can have anything like kind of clearly written out. But that would be my first way of always kind of exporting something and sharing it with the within Arkio's device. That way you don't have to have things connected to your computer. You can just, if you're just using a mobile headset like the Quest 3 or Quest 2 or Pro, you easily can connect it into that way. But let's say you do have Rhino, or you do have like a modeling platform that you want to work with. So in here, let's say we want to pull up Rhino. That's my go-to. Basically, if you can import things when you work with this workflow, you need to have our plugins installed from our website. So I'll put that in here. And I'll also show it. Where is the chat? Right there. If you work on a desktop version, would you have to export the model in order to view it on your headset, or does it auto update? If you work on a desktop version, you have to export the model in order to view it on your headset. So basically when you export your model, what you end up doing is exporting it locally. So it's not technically on your headset. It's technically within the like the local files of your computer. So when you install Arkio on your desktop, it ends up creating, right, like it ends up creating a space. Oh God, I just see my computer's like things kind of going crazy. When you create Arkio like when you install Arkio into this into your computer, it will create this like this folder here where all of your imports and exports will be, and this kind of ties in everything together. However, you can also export to the cloud from these plugins. It doesn't have to be directly, so you kind of have choices of exporting and keeping everything locally on your machine through through this Arkio space. Let's say you want to use their headset connected through a big powerful machine. You could use that, and then that's a good workflow. But if you want to use things mobile, like on your mobile, then I would still export to the cloud, because the only way you can really interact with the folder structure of a headset is kind of turning on developer mode, and I don't know, it's much more of a pain to use that. But it gives you a lot more customization. Like you have a little bit more hands-on with the model. Oh, nice, great to hear. Great to hear. Thanks, Programmer. All right, cool. Let's get into this. Let's get back to it. Let's go. All right. So let's say we're talking about exporting with Rhino. Pleasure. Okay, so I got my little Rhino set up. Oof, my thing's looking ugly. Okay, and I'm gonna say I downloaded that model. We're kind of in that same mental state at this point. I'm not gonna go over this. I know there's like also a link in there that says something about speckle. I think for now, we could maybe talk on it, but I feel like I'm already behind, so let's kind of just keep working on this. Um, so let's say I have a fresh version of Arkio. I want to import this in, so I can do let's see. I need to actually find my Arkio buttons. Arkio about. Let's see. Well, actually, I'm going to do import. I have just the model still here laying around, so let's go to the actual model. I already set it all up. Actually, let's just open this. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because this is what I've set up in Rhino. And here, basically, you're going to have you would have, like, this is the GLTF model if you import it in. This is exactly what you'll see in Rhino. I think I've just kind of set some things up with my layers. And so with here, what you can end up doing when you install Arkio's plugins, they'll come in with some commands here. Let's see. Toolbars. I'm very annoyingly picky with my Arkio, with my toolbars. Oh, it was here. I knew it. I was like, where'd it go? So Arkio's toolbars come in here, and basically you get the opportunity to kind of like import, export directly from Rhino. So if you wanted to stylize some of the material directly or do something like that, you can basically go in here, and when you set things up, you would say open cloud setting. Oh no, this is, okay, known little bug. We're gonna do a quick hot reboot. Yeah, there we go. Rhino. Let's open that model again. Back to it. We discovered this morning or something around there that sometimes in Rhino it doesn't open directly, but squashable. All right. It's kind of, it gets you to refresh for a second. So same exact concept that we're doing here, though. We're basically importing things into Arkio, and we're going to basically just work with using the cloud connection. The local connections are very good. However, I think most of us are going to be using the cloud. Here we go. All right. So in here, and I need my buttons now. Jeez Louise. Toolbars. Cool. Where'd they go? Floating around. All right. No shit. Okay. Restart would do it. All right. Well, TBD. Okay. However, I've been messing around with my computer too much. Roro in the building. Great to see you, guy. However, basically, if from Rhino, Revit, or SketchUp, these plugins, when you export them up, basically it goes into the cloud just in the way that we upload it straight to the browser. Very easy way to get up and running with modeling, and then it gets you the opportunity to import this back into your scene. So that is going to be our first part here that we went through, and I feel like there was some good little moments in there that hopefully we can pull away from. So let's go right into scene setup. All right, let's jump into this. Has anyone started to work on the challenge yet? Very curious. Let's see, Claudia, if you're still out there too, I will meet you in Arkio very soon. Let's just jump right into this. So,
hello.
Hey, how's it going, Claudia?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Great presentation.
I don't know presentation, but
do we meet in STU?
What's up? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna set up the scene real quick, and then I'll kind of bring you in, and we'll do a little bit more of talking about the scene setup here. So let's see. I'll do a meeting. We'll do that same one, and then we'll join up here. So just let me know if you're able to get in here. Mute myself in this space. All right, cool. All right, you got everything set up still?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And I think I need to. All right, hopefully stream. Time to yet. Oh no. Okay. Well, guys, we're gonna give you the quick what's up about this, because this is a good part for where we get to, right? We already showed the import. You kind of are able to create your model. Let's say you have Arkio set up, and we have Claudia visiting us today. Claudia's an alum of the Reality Check program and has been like an active Arkio user. So you can see some of her work in the page. But this was one of this project here. This kind of here to there was one of the first things we always did within the school, within the class. So yeah, so we'll kind of do a little showcase of like one of the process of editing and setting this up. But let me just so here, basically what I like to do with my Arkio scenes is that we start things off in this very like a very large model scale, and sometimes when you import into your scene, it will be very difficult to kind of have everything, like sometimes you might have a bounds that's too big. So I typically like to scale in the model a little bit this way, and then just kind of get it a bit more reasonable. This way I'm not like I have things a little bit more centralized, but in other times I will also create I'll create a space over here where I can do prototyping, or kind of like a factory. So things that I, kind of have that aren't related to the final model that I just want to work on over here. So this here is just our starting plate. And then another thing that I would recommend everyone doing from using this space in here is when you get your scene and you import in a model like we showed before, actually, it's kind of a bummer. You can't edit the name now. I would recommend renaming your file, because when you create a new one, it's going to always kind of have a very standard just time of day, and sometimes it's tricky to figure out where your models are, because sometimes you just want to create and develop and share things. So I would personally like just rename it so you can always identify it pretty quickly. It's really quite simple. And then once that's set up, one thing I also like to do to just kind of, I don't know, is just set the lighting a little bit towards how I'm seeing the scene. Maybe you do set it at different times a day, but I just like to kind of get something that has a little bit more, less hard shadows that are like drifting too much into the main model, but also not like very hard light. So all right, and then the last thing that I typically always show people is how you interact with a static model this way. So there's a difference between this model that we have imported and this type of geometry here. And we kind of talked about that last week, where the geometry here is a flexible flexible Arkio cell that we can work with and design and modify and edit. While imported geometry is going to be more as a view only, or you can do simple things to color and change it, but these are kind of like our areas of truth. Like we want to build off of these, and this is a great way of looking at our sites and building off of it and having something that we know is a good starting template. So but when you start working with a static model, you can color it and change it just to get a little bit more, form and function out of how you see things. So if you wanted to change it to be all black, you can. You can simply by doing that by just selecting the paint tool, and you can't really change what surface you are, but how the model is broken up in the meshes, you'll kind of see what can be painted and modified. So yeah. So that is the basics towards scene setup. And now I wanted to get into workflow tips. So Claudia, this is where we're going to have a little chat. So I'm going to...
Sure.
All right, let me pop my head off real quick and just make sure. All right, let's see. All right, cool. If you guys have any questions on those, on that, just let me know. I'll check it in a second. All right, cool. So Claudia, I'm curious what you, like when you saw this model, it's a little different from the previous ones we've done, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's like, do I have to follow? Oops, I keep hitting my desk. Sorry. Do we have to follow where the indent is? Is there multiple pathways we have to follow, or is it just the red to red?
Well,
I see a bunch of squares.
So this is kind of what I was thinking when I started building this was the idea is to draw from this space here where like from this square all the way down to oh no, to this space here. So this kind of pathway is the main like that's basically we need to connect these two. And the idea with adding this space in here is just to give people kind of an influential form to go off of. So
Uh-huh.
but yeah, there's no like someone could actually go in here, and one of the perks of working right with a static geometry is just you can build off of it. So if someone did want to say like I don't want to use that slope, they can actually just get rid of it and cover it, and just focus on drawing from, drawing a pathway that could lead from, one space here. Maybe I should use like a white. Yeah. So something that kind of shows how, maybe I'll just turn the freeform off. Something that shows how you go from this space here up to, that location there. So I don't know, is that, I feel like that didn't explain anything.
No, I feel like you could explain it like just one point, that's point A, that's point B, and just kind of create a bunch of unique geometries, I guess,
Yeah.
to kind of make the path more interesting and cool and fun, and kind of make it your own personal design out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, and so also like one thing that I thought would be helpful is these are like I put in these spots here to act as like viewpoints. So while you're designing it, it might be good to look at. These are kind of like your wayfinding areas for people. But and then if you're like, if you did you see the little secret entrance thing here?
I did. I was like, is this like an error or is it like what?
No, it's secret. See, so if you go in here, that's that's where I was like, oh, I want to see if people see the secret, and just to give something to play off of, like if people wanted to try to do like a loop down to there or something.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, but let's kind of demonstrate. Let's do a little bit of the design thinking stuff here, because I think this would be good to show people how we like, some of the first steps towards like getting going in with the models, because I think that's always the first big scary thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I remember last time we did. Yeah, sure. I remember last time in class, I think a year ago, where you kind of show like a sketch first, kind of like sketching it out, roughly know like what pathway you kind of did. Where's the 3D? Oh, there it is. Where we kind of like started off, like, oh, let me go closer. Like you're just like, oh, okay, this is the pathway, and we like go like, oh, then let's start down here. Or something like that, and then you go like, oh, but we'll go up here. Oh my goodness, I never did sitting down.
Oh,
I lost it.
Oh no, it's also kind of I feel like doing it from a larger scale is sometimes helpful, because it's kind of a big jump, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so like kind of sketching out that pathing, right? Because we, like you could also do something. Oh no. I thought I spilled my coffee. Jeez Louise. So
the perks of sitting on your desk.
I know, right? Oh, jeez. Yeah. So, and I always use the pass through sometimes. So, but in here I'm trying not to. But it's funny. But yeah, so it's kind of tracing out that form and getting like those, getting kind of the key areas was always something we'd start with, right? Like we'd say like, okay, do this, and then kind of start to mock that up, right? Like what would be now the form here, and getting like the scale and right. Oh no, I think this is also why I tend to like the sketching here. It's hard to interact with that because it becomes much more of like a bounds towards everything. So it's either good to do like quick sketches like that to leave a flat bounds. That's just my own mistake, but it's also nice to see one long thing. But Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
but like putting together the scale, I think it was also helpful because if you start to, I don't know, if you start to kind of showcase how like you see like the functionality of like a simple gesture like that working, you can start to mass things out and get the scale together, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's definitely starting like with the larger scale and then just kind of like work your way onto one-to-one.
Yeah. But yeah, what I guess what ideas have you had so far with this? Like, have you sketched out anything?
I already kind of like this, what you kind of drew in. Like you start like at the top and you just kind of like go drop down and then kind of build off of it a little bit into something like you know those like the skipping stones. Like you just kind of like you have to use the pointer to just like point and point. We can start off with that, I guess.
Wait, so what's the skipping stone thing?
Oh, I call it the skipping stone,
Uh,
but it's basically using your pointer and you just kind of like here, let me draw like a
the teleporter.
yeah, the teleporter, that's the one. I don't know why I keep calling it the skipping stone.
That's funny. No, oh no. Well, I'm just gonna redraw this because it's somehow grouped. So you're thinking like down like that?
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's kind of like a where you kind of play with like with vertical and horizontal, I guess, with it.
Yeah.
Like it's such a big space, so
Do you think it should have been smaller?
no, I think it's a good size.
Yeah. Ah, good. All right. Yeah, that was something too, right? Like when like you were saying like the teleporting, like that is like when you first start designing an Arkio, like you kind of need to like frame these shots. So like getting a sense of where your movement goes to was one of like kind of a key thing, right? And like making sure
Yeah,
you didn't just have a path that was like a long rectangle that didn't, it kind of promotes people to um, move around and try like the navigation to try to create different moments of navigation. All right, let me just check on the time. Let's see. Okay. Forget what it is. All right.
yeah.
Oh, this is kind of nice. Maybe there has to be like, oh, right
Oop.
person.
Oop, skylight.
Yeah, I know. It's getting something. We could just go for. I was thinking it would be interesting to like make a actual like. What if we made a whole like mass out of one of these pieces? Like kind of like broke the form there and I don't know, like made this something where like in a way this is like a roof, you know, like a rooftop space.
Well, that would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So change it like that, and then I don't know. I think the thing too, right? When we started, like when you start to draft these spaces, like the assets come in really helpful because you can put together a bit more scale, like really quickly. Like using the scale figures, like styling them to be like a color that makes like just I don't know makes you feel good, and then I don't know. Oh, you can also style those little fellas. Yeah. Maybe we'll go with. Yeah, I can do that. No, we'll go with that. Okay, cool. But I think getting some sort of sense of like how the space works, just by quickly drafting out some forms here, like, okay, that doesn't really work or do anything, but it just, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense. But I don't know. I do think the assets help bring things together, but
No, I agree. Even like it's certain like materials, you could just transform your project into like a whole different level.
yeah.
Like you said, like kind of gives you that personality into that project.
Yeah, you know what? Be kind of interesting is thinking, like you said, the like tell it like you were thinking about the like making this big drop. Like you could kind of keep this like almost. I feel like it's like the Icelandic like cliff, kind of
Yeah,
space like that.
I'll delete this one.
All right. Ooh.
Okay.
Well, I think one thing that we didn't have enough time to talk on is also capturing and exporting this work. So I'll just show really quickly was one of the tools that people will be kind of using rapidly is the camera tool in here. You can find that really quickly. And it just creates a nice little viewport for you to take photographs of your space as you're working on it. So you can kind of go in here, capture that. And these will save on, you can actually see these get exported through the Arkio cloud. So if you have your scene set up here, when you're not on a meeting together, you'll be able to export different things through the Arkio cloud export. So all of your pictures will kind of go up there, so you can see the 2 pictures I just took, go back into that group, and so I can download them and share it. So, but let's see. Oop. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Oop. Yeah, funny. Cool. All right, I think we're getting to a wrap up time here.
Yep.
There we go. Cool. Well, any words of wisdom, Claudia?
Words of wisdom. Don't get too complicated because I remember when I did, it kind of crashed my program. It could get a little frustrating, but I don't know. My word of complicated is actually adding like little tiny details, but yeah, but I think overall just play with the colors, play with everything, just see how it goes, and then go from there.
Yeah. Well, I think that words of wisdom, it helps to put it in context towards like when a lot of people like to do like creating a bunch of arrays of stuff, and it's very easy to make any sort of 3D model very chunky. So I think it's like, especially in an immersive environment, do the steps that like help you carve out that space, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Word. Yeah, that's I feel like that's a good word of wisdom, It's, start small and just keep, but also getting that right scale of context is important. So but yeah, okay. Well, Claudia, say goodbye. Bye.
All right, well, thank you, and hopefully can't wait to see all you guys' projects. So
yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you on the stream or in Discord or something. But thanks for joining us, Claudia.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you for having me.
All right, let's see. Man, this is funny. All right, I'm gonna go here, shebang. All right, people. Let's see. So we're wrapping up today. Hopefully. Jeez Louise. I haven't really ever said that word too much, but now it's starting to kind of crack me up that it's like a go-to in my vocabulary. Well, thanks everyone for sticking around. If you have any questions for how, for the modeling stuff, it'd be great to learn more, but you know where to find us on Discord, and in here I'm going to post in the chat where to find this quick start guide that I'll be updating throughout today and tomorrow, so you'll be able to kind of reference this before. So there's the quick start guide, and that should get you guys up and running. So don't forget to reach out on Discord and follow, just post your work. Hopefully this helps you guys get up and running. So my name is David, and I'm happy to have run this Open Studio again with you guys. So let me know what you think, and talk to you soon.